So his radio resume basically includes every single station on the dial in Chicago. WLS, WMAQ, WFYR, WPNT, WCFL, WJMK, WLUP, WXXY, WMVP, the real oldie station. I'm probably missing a few. And some of those more than once. This week's guest is Chicago radio legend and the latest inductee into the Radio Hall of Fame. We're talking to Fred Winston.
It's a special moment in my life.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is the Minutia Man Celebrity Interview with Rick and Dave.
Okay, no Dave this week, but I've got something much better. I've got Fred. Welcome, Fred.
Hi, Rick. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. So I don't know if you know this, but I curated an exhibit at the Museum of Broadcast Communications about the Loop, which is right next to the Radio Hall of Fame. And when I was working on it, I was asked by the people there who I thought was missing from the hall. And I said, the most egregious omission, the one that needs to be corrected as soon as possible, Fred Winston.
Oh, man.
And I am so happy they fixed that. Put you on the list. I mean, you deserve it, man. I'm so happy that you got in. How did you find out?
Well, thank you. Number one, I really appreciate that. And I found out via a phone call from one of the board members, Lon Helton, who is a former Chicago radio guy, as a matter of fact, and an old friend who's now in Nashville and in the Country Music Hall of Fame and does a syndicated show. Did
you work with him at MAQ?
Yes, briefly.
Okay.
And to interject, that list of stations.
Yeah.
Most of them changed format. It wasn't that I couldn't hold a job.
That's true.
It was that the formats changed and or ownership changed, and I think I only got, unlike my pal Dick Biondi, I only got canned from one.
Oh wow, that's pretty impressive.
It was, considering my reputation. Which,
naughty. You're very naughty, Fred.
Right. Well, I tried to build on that, and perpetuate the naughtiness that seemed to make for great press, really.
So I'm sorry, I got you off track. You were talking about how you found out about getting into the Hall of Fame.
Right, but I got a call from Lon Helton on April 20th.
Oh.
And
420.
Right. Oh, right. It was, wasn't it? Didn't think about that.
Well,
proves I'm getting old.
Yeah.
So, we've been trying to reach you. Got to commend your friends. Nobody would give up your phone number. I said, well, you got a hold of me, and he sent me a copy of the nomination letter. I was nominated among one of 24 people who was nominated for this particular honor, the Hall of Fame in 2026. And the letter was dated April 6th. And said, and we need complete bio and pictures and audio representation by at the end of the day, the 20th. And here we are, Lon and I are talking the 20th, and I'm going, my God, it's 2 hours from now. So fortunately, I have a dear friend in South Bend who has a team of production people, Ted Smucker, who is a champion of our brand of radio. And the personalities involved, and Bill Shannon and Tim Larson, production people and writers, and I called him, and he put together the complete package and got it off to the Hall of Fame people by the end of the day in a couple 3 hours.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's how I found out. And Lon Helton and I caught up, and I was thrilled and delighted. And I don't know if you know the process behind this, but the Hall of Fame people send out 1,000 voting ballots nationally.
Right, like pre-chosen people within the industry, right?
Correct. Performers, owners, management, programmers, et al. And I found out the 18th of May that I had been inducted, or will be inducted, at the ceremony in October. And I was speechless. I really was, because throughout my career, I was kind of rebellious, to say the least.
Yeah.
Not a political type of fellow, and didn't blow smoke up a lot of people's asses. And if they were assholes, I would make sure they knew it. So I really was quite surprised that I was voted in, but to be voted in strictly on the merits of talent and what I contributed to the industry by my peers is such an honor. Beyond words. I'm just thrilled.
Well, you totally deserve it. I mean, you
Thank you.
I'm happy you're in there. And another guy going in the same class as Charlie Van Dyke. Did you two work together? He was at WLS, I think, also in the 70s.
Charlie. Yes, we became good buddies. Charlie was the morning man. I always joke and say Charlie was the morning man for 15 minutes.
Yeah, he was not here long.
He a West Coast guy.
Yeah.
And just Chicago's weather didn't agree with him.
Right.
And he begged off, and I took over the morning show after he left, and the rest is history.
Well, everyone thinks of you as a Chicago guy, but you're not originally from here, right? You tell the story of how you arrived in town here.
Well, I'm originally from upstate New York, Syracuse. So I grew up in the shadow of WABC, WMCA, listening to LS, CKLW, and all the big radio stations, and WKBW in Buffalo. Again, Dick Biondi, was the guy who lit the flame of desire for me being on the radio back in the early '60s, late '50s and early '60s when he was on the air. He was so revolutionary and exciting. It was just made me want to get into the business and inspired me. So I started off at little suburban stations in central New York, wound up at Wolf, WOLF, who has a great history of some top-notch talent, developing top-notch talent. And then from OLF, I went to K-Box in Dallas, where I did news.
Really?
Yeah, I was a news guy. And at Wolf, I did news and a jock show.
I guess, you know what, I can hear you as a news guy. You have that authoritative voice.
I do.
It works out perfectly.
And K-Box, and then, let's see, K-Box, and then I think I went back to New York for a while. And then off I went to Denver, to KBTR, Denver, where I was news director. And then off to Coil in Omaha, where I did news.
Well,
Interesting story about KBTR. I also did a Saturday morning DJ show using a nom de plume.
Oh,
and
what was it?
Bill Fortune. A lot of people don't know this. I'm Bill Fortune. So the Saturday morning Bill Fortune show, and then Monday through Friday, I'm Frederick Winston, KBTR News.
Love it.
And I get a call one day from the great KIMN future Drake programmer, Ted Atkins. See a message. Ted Atkins, Kim's calling you. He goes, it's for Bill Fortune. So I call. He said, how would you like to come on over here and do nights on Kim in Colorado? You know, and they were a red-hot radio station. And I informed him that the Bill Fortune was really Fred Winston. And it floored him. He went, wow, you sound like two different people. So that's when I realized I may have a personality disorder.
Well, it served you well.
Thank you. So KBTR Denver, Coyle, Omaha, where Lyle Dean and I worked and did news. And then I said, enough of news. I want to get back into the jock thing. So I cut a demo tape using WABC jingles and applied for a gig at Wing, W-I-N-G, Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
Where I went and did afternoon drive, eventually became music director. And after that, the sirens of major market radio called me, always in the back of my mind. I always wanted to be in Chicago. That was in the back of my mind. And back then, the way to do it was to move progressively from smaller to medium to large to larger markets. And I got a gig at NBC in Cleveland, WKYC, and worked with some real big-time talent. And the thing about Cleveland that comes, I remember when the Cuyahoga River caught on fire.
Oh, wow.
NBC was an O&O, owned and operated, and they had precedence. The news had precedence over anything. And all those guys back then tried to sound like David Brinkley or Chet Huntley.
Yeah.
Remember the guy broke in going, there's an NBC News bulletin. The Cuyahoga River has caught on fire. Details. So, but anyway, I digress. Then after that, I went to work for ABC in Pittsburgh, KQV.
Wow, I had no idea you had so many stops before you got here.
Yes. And the program director was Mike McCormick at the time. And who later went on to Chicago and was my introduction into the Chicago market, helped get me in. But I did middays on KQV and sat in for the morning guy when he was on vacation, and also did, I was assistant production director, and I did character voices and wrote for the morning show. I think the morning show host was Harry West at the time. Very funny guy, a cornball type of gig persona. And then McCormick went to Chicago as the director of production, and then eventually he was a master of politics, got his way into programming, and then brought me up to Chicago, where I did, I replaced Scotty Brink, of all people. Was a great guy. He, he's on his way out, and he's showing me the ropes of the radio station. Really a class act. And I did afternoons, 4 to 7 or 3 to 6. We had 3-hour shifts back then.
Yeah.
And then 9 to noon, noon to 3, 10 to 2, and boom, mornings. And I got there in February of 1971, and stayed through 1977-ish or 78.
So everyone remembers that time at WLS. That actually there were two stints there, but the first
two
one,
tours of duty.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, that was the station in Chicago at that time. Everybody listened to it. There was also that rivalry with WCFL, and you eventually worked there too. And in those
briefly,
days,
when they went, they were adult contemporary in 1980-ish.
I remember the advertising campaign for you when you got that morning show. They did a TV campaign for you.
Right, black and white commercials with me holding a chicken. I remember that.
That's right when I moved to Chicago in 1980. It's a long story, but I grew up in Germany, came back here, and 1980 was a very important year for me because that was the year that we moved back here permanently. And the radio was my companion, and I listened to that show all the time on WCFL.
Well, that station, both those AM stations were at that time everything to everybody, and it was before FM fragmentation took place.
That is true.
The only FMs that were doing well were the alternative or underground. They were referred to as underground back then.
Yeah.
The DJs were long-haired hippie commies,
right,
selling hashish out of their fry boots,
right,
and,
exactly,
playing obscure album cuts. But then fragmentation took place and started poking away and chipping away and eroding the big numbers that AM radio had, and so it went. And then the consultants came in and said, talent, these people are hard to deal with, and they cost too much money. Let's get people with deep voices and have them read flip cards.
Yeah, that's so true.
So the
beginning of the end.
Yeah, it was. And because of that, there were no more role models on the radio for young broadcasters to listen to. Like when I grew up, when we grew up, we would piece together a Frankenstein monster, a little bit of Joey Reynolds, a little bit of Dan Ingram, some of Bruce Bradley from BZ in Boston, and the tight formatics of Tom Shannon on CKLW, and try to create this personality. And until you get into a major market for a few years, you really didn't develop as a talent until you got rooted in a market where everyone on the dial was a super pro and an awesome type of talent, and that's how that happened.
Well, I mean, your contemporaries at WLS, I mean, Larry Lujak, John Landecker, Fred Winston, that's could be the strongest radio lineup in Chicago radio history. All three of you are Hall of Famers now.
Yeah, how neat, huh?
Yeah,
I'm in good company, and we all got along well. We were like a brotherhood. We were a family. The chemistry was there. We'd party together. We were brothers.
Yeah.
And that made it extra special. We'd get together for holidays and barbecues and christenings and
you'd show up on each other's shows. I mean, you could just, as a listener, you could just tell that you guys were a family, right?
Oh, that was part of the fun. dragging people in out of the hallways.
Yeah.
Or just pop in and do some shtick. Or hey, I got a live commercial for True Value Hardware. Come on in and join me. And some of those clients really relished the live commercials because they didn't know what was going to happen.
Right. Some of them ended up being like 3 minutes long.
Right. They got a lot for their dough.
Yeah.
And the beauty of being on the air back then was the programmer knew the caliber of talent,
right,
that they had on the air, and the rules were: go in, have fun, don't lose the license.
Yeah.
And we did. It was a blank canvas for creativity, and I was so lucky to be in it at that time, and it peaked then. It peaked in the 70s, early 80s, and things started to change, as I mentioned.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a listener, I'm just happy I got to hear it. I never worked in that world. I mean, I worked at the Loop, which was kind of a free for all, also, and that was probably the very last gasp of personality radio in the country. I hate to say it.
I agree. I tell you, if there ever is a patron saint, if the Pope decides to make a patron saint of broadcasting, it should be Jimmy DeCastro.
Yeah,
because he and Larry Wirt really did so much to and realized the importance of talent and creativity in that medium.
So I know this is an impossible question to answer, but you're going to be asked this many times in the coming months. And that
Come on, tell me.
Give us a few of your highlights. When you look back, what are some of the things that jump out at you and you're like, yeah, when that happened, that's when I knew that I was doing a good job?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I was just talking about Paul Harvey this morning. Talk about two guys who had two different lifestyles.
Yeah.
Myself and Mr. Harvey. And I'd come crawling into the radio station at 4:00 in the morning in a sweatshirt, unshaven, hair down to my shoulders, and probably smelling like a bar rag. And I would run into Mr. Harvey in the elevator.
Wearing a suit.
He'd be in a three-piece suit, clean-shaven, smell the aftershave, briefcase, and would say, good morning, in that high-pitched voice, and almost split my head in half. And just to see him coming in to do it, and he was such a link to broadcasting's past and the origins of when radio was king.
Yeah,
there was no television, and there were commentators like Paul Harvey, Alex Dreyer, and others. And I got to know him, and he would let me sit in the engineer's booth from time to time and watch him do his network program.
Wow, that's cool.
And, it was. And this man, just watching him and being in the same profession was one of the highlights of my career.
You know, I was talking to Jim McMahon recently. And we're talking about, obviously, during the Bears years when they were the biggest stars in Chicago, right?
Absolutely.
But you had a big tie to that, and I didn't realize this, and he told me about this. It was the whole controversy around Jim McMahon calling the women of New Orleans whores or something like that. And
I vaguely recall that.
right? Did that happen on your show? Something like that?
I really don't remember.
Okay, that's what you told me.
I do remember about McMahon. He was a difficult interview.
Yes, he was.
He'd come on Monday mornings, and I'd play the theme song and then do the intro, and I'd get the one-syllable answers. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, it was like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
The only morning that he was really loose was on New Year's Day, and he and Thayer and a couple of other guys were at his house, and I think he stayed up all night and was half in the bag, and he did a great show.
Do more of that.
Yeah, please, can you do that? Would you mind drinking more, please? I do recall that. But anything McMahon did got attention. Wore the headband with Roselle written on it,
right,
just to piss off the commissioner.
Yeah,
and he was a rebel, and I like that. I wished he had displayed more of that during our interviews. I mean, it was so difficult, and to the point where people would see me. I heard that. Jesus, that's really. I heard the McMahon thing. I'm sorry, boy. That's really. They apologize. I said, I'm just trying my best. So I asked him one time. I couldn't ask him. I had to have my people ask his people if we could get together somewhere and have some lunch and drinks and try to get to know each other better to create chemistry.
Right.
But it didn't get it done.
So you never met with him,
No.
Yeah.
No, never did. Never did. Yeah, in New Orleans, broadcasting 1985 for the Super Bowl, we ran into, and he's still on the air, Chuck Gowdy.
Yeah, sure.
And he's the NBC5 head investigative guy. Well, he was doing the same thing for Channel 7 back then, and we're both ABC owned. And I ran into him, and he goes, Freddie, we're going to do a piece on you being down here in New Orleans, and we're going to have it on the air in Chicago on Channel 7. And I said, oh, wonderful. So nothing, I heard crickets all week. So we went out to dinner to I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but the Court of the Two Sisters on Bourbon Street, had dinner, ran into Ditka's party. So we sent over a bottle of wine, and Ditka blessed us, of course, because he was always God blessing people.
Uh-huh.
and then you know how it is in New Orleans. You eat and get half in the bag, and then go out and eat more and drink more. So ran into Chuck Gowdy on Bourbon Street after dinner. And he said, oh, Fred. I said, whatever happened to that piece we were going to do? Oh, I don't know. I said, we just left dinner with Ditka. What? Where is he? I said, I can't tell you. and I left Chuck Gowdy literally jumping up and down like an 8-year-old on Bourbon Street in frustration, which still amuses me to this day.
I love that. So, I mean,
too.
you had this great broadcasting career. You also, at one point, were an agent and you were a consultant. And I think that's when you and I met each other. We used to bring this batch of Germans around. I remember that.
From Antenna Bayern.
That's right.
In München.
That's right. But
Gagels of Deutschlanders.
That's right. But you always ended up going back on the air because that's where you belong. I
missed it.
Yeah, I bet you did. So,
but let me tell you, being, and I learned a great deal from that. It was teaching the basics of personality radio and formatics and show preparation and how to work with a producer and how to write intros and outros and how to edit show content. Taught me. It was a refresher course in the basics of broadcasting, and it made me a better broadcaster.
And it made you want to do it again, too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I got out of that consulting thing and went on to the WPNT morning show, replacing my pal Steve Cochran.
I remember.
And just had an ensemble show, and we did really well. But WTMX had more money and was our primary competition, and the station eventually got sold twice while I was there, and they changed format, and off I went.
You know, I don't know if I ever told you this story, but those Germans hired me to come to Germany.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. So, I speak German, and, my family is from Germany. So I went to Antenne Bayern in München, and I talked to these guys, and they were run by an American. I'm trying to remember what his name was. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah, it was a Wisconsin fellow, and I cannot remember his name either. Good
nice
lad.
Guy. Yeah. So he asked me to come and talk to the entire staff, and so they brought all the staff in, and he said, try to explain to them why a morning show is important.
Okay. Why is there air?
So I tried to explain to this group of Germans about why humor in the morning is something that could get people out of their homes in a good mood. And one guy raised his hand and he said, "That is not necessary. Why would people need to have humor in the morning?" I was like, you know what? I don't think this is going to work out.
Yeah. Well, you need that. Of course you need that. Yeah. Well, a different society, different, being a native Deutschlander, the Germans are very, very efficient.
Yes, and, that's right.
And we
the papers are in order.
We need efficiency. Never mind humor.
So I want to peel back the Fred Winston curtain a little bit for everybody, because now you are
want to look under my skirt?
Yeah, I do. You are a gentleman farmer. I was talking to you about that a little bit before we started recording here, and you're a jazz drummer.
Jazz blues. I played the Chicago blues. That's how I got into this business.
So tell that story.
I was one of the top drummers back in Central New York when big names came through, and they didn't have backup people. I would generally wind up with me and my crew backing up some big names, and it was my ambition to go on the road, which I did briefly, and then wind up being a music teacher. And I got sidelined by the sirens of radio, but one of the prizes for winning the Battle of the Bands in Central New York was a tour of the radio station, WOLF, and I saw the behind-the-scenes thing, and I was immediately smitten. But a lot of people didn't know that I just didn't tell people who I was and got into the blues scene in Chicago. Well, some of the guys knew I was a radio guy, and that helped open the door to get into
right. So they took you seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I played with a great blues guy named Lefty Diz. He he was Junior Wells guitar player, and everybody has a lineage. There's
right
important lineage in the Chicago blues scene. And Doug McDonald and the Blue Mirror Band and Aaron Burden, and just gigged a lot. Played clubs, played shitholes, and played some nice venues, and did that for a number of years.
Did you do it while you were doing the morning show?
Yes, as a matter of fact, and in the '90s while I was consulting, so
okay.
I didn't have to do. I didn't have to get up after sitting on a stage listening to loud guitar players and having my ears ring for 2 days.
I used to do the overnight show on the Loop when Buzz Killman was the morning news guy on Brandmeier show.
Sure.
And Buzz would do this too. He would go out and he'd gig, 4 nights a week. Just he played the harp, but
he was great too.
He was, but let's just say he didn't get a lot of sleep, and so he would come in after like 2 hours of sleep, and was a little crabby in the morning. And if you did not have his AP wire. This is for the kids out there. The Associated Press used to come across on the wire, and you'd have to cut it for him and have it all ready, and you'd have to tape his AP feed. And if it wasn't perfect, he would have meltdowns that were legendary. I mean,
no kidding.
Oh yeah. Now he would in real life, mild mannered, totally cool dude, right? But after 2 hours of sleep at 3:30 in the morning, a little different.
I used to run into him when we played Buddy Guy's joint. And this is one band I was in. Buzzy was always there, having a shot of tequila at the bar, and we shoot the crap. We did this. I got to play at the legendary Checkerboard Lounge.
Cool.
Before Buddy Guy opened his place downtown at, what is that, 11th and State, I think.
Legends.
And that was an interesting story. I think Checkerboard was at 47th and MLK, right in the heart of it all. And we were going to gig there in the summer. And the guitar player, I asked the guitar player, I said, well, I'm a middle-aged white boy. Is it safe for me? He goes, well, it was Doug McDonald. I said, how's the club? He said, well, I don't have to bring my gun. Oh, hey, Doug, I feel a lot better. Don't park too far away. Okay. Unload all the shit. And then it was a great club, knowing that, who had been on that stage. The same thing with Legends, who had sat in and who popped up, who was a guest, who played. Just being part of that, and anonymously, too.
Right.
Which I really liked. I didn't have to flaunt the radio guns to open the door for me. And I still play, not as much. I practice, and I've got a couple sets of drums. I have one set up and one packed up and ready to go if I get the call. But I'll sit in occasionally with some bands around here. But I ultimately, before I cack, would like to get a little jazz quartet together with piano, bass, drums, guitar, maybe a long-legged vixen with tattoos and big tits. Oops, I said tits. Sorry.
We'll be right back. That's funny. Bridget and I are going down to New Orleans in a few weeks. Her family's from down there. And,
great.
And that's the kind of music we go down there to see. I mean, I love especially in New Orleans. There's something about listening to it down there. Do you know what I mean?
Where that whole blues soul came from that area.
Yep.
And migrated up the Mississippi and wound up in Chicago.
It did.
And in ports in between.
Well, hopefully I get a chance to see Chuck Gowdy there. And fuck with him.
I'm glad to see he's still doing what he does best.
Well,
there was a friend who was my late buddy Ronnie Cole, who was the director of tourism for the state of Louisiana when we were down there in '85, and he helped set up some gigs for us for broadcasting. But Buddy was also a world-class piano player, played command performances for the Queen of England. And
wow.
Concert. I mean, he's really, really a Brubeck-esque type of cat. And he owned a nightclub on corner of Bourbon Street, and he said, between these 4 nightclubs on this one corner, you can listen to jazz that was flavored jazz from the 20s
yep.
To the 40s to the mid-50s, 60s, through the 80s and beyond,
yeah.
and listen to the progression of music just based on the location. Not to mention the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, which was they're still in operation.
They are, yeah. We're going to go see them again too.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I'm envious.
I'm
Plus,
also going to come
all
to
that
see
good food.
Yes. Oh my God, the food. But I'm also going to come to see you in October when you get into the Radio Hall of Fame.
Oh, you are?
I am. I wouldn't miss it. I think it's wonderful that you're going to be in there, and
cool.
And I am very honored that one of your first interviews is here with me after you've got the big honor, and I want to thank you for spending some time with me today talking about all this stuff.
Rick, it's my pleasure, and I'm honored and I'm humbled.
Well,
and, now I'm going to be a museum piece. That's cool.
Well, go out there and do your gentleman farmer work, and we'll talk. I'll see you soon.
All right, buddy.
Thanks,
Thank
Fred.
you.
All right, bye-bye. There he goes, Fred Winston. I'm telling you, one of the greatest radio performers in history. And that's kind of a subject matter that I know a lot about. And so when I say it, I really mean it. So thanks, Fred Winston, for coming on the show. We have people to thank. We need to thank our executive producer, Tony Lozano, with Opie Productions. Thank you, Tony. Thanks also to Ed Silla with the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place. RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again soon with a brand new episode of Minutia Men Celebrity Interview.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?
If you missed Los Anno and Friends, here's what you missed.
Hi, Fred Winston here, Chicago radio guy.
Now, Fred,
Tony.
You were the first voice on Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah, that was my big cinematic moment.
It is a beautiful day in Chicago today. Temperatures expected to reach the upper 70s. Right now, 75 at the lakefront, 74 at Midway, 73 at O'Hare, and now, up in the sky, Don Nelson.
Paris.
Yeah, pretty goddamn riveting, wasn't it? Huh? I got John Hughes in the studio, and we're in a commercial break. He says, could you imagine your voice coming out of the theater speakers in the theater? I said, yeah, what does it pay? Mercenary. So I go in the studio and I'm recording stuff, and I'm doing buffo DJ crap and clever ad-libs and, blah, 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 blah. And they didn't want that. They wanted the straight crap.
Right.
So he invited me to go with him to the premiere.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, I can't do that because I get up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give up my sleep. I don't give a crap if it is a movie. So he fixed my ass. I got paid, but I got no movie credit.
Oh, really?
No credit.
Really?
No credit in the movie. Everyone got a credit except me.
Unbelievable.
You're the first voice.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Do you get checks in the mail still for like 16 cents for that? Or
No.
Really?
It was a one-time flat fee of $337.65.
Oh,
man.
I'm swimming in it.
Radio Misfits. Get more Lozano and Friends. Lozano. Now on Lozano.com. Good luck trying to spell Lozano or whatever it's called.
That's nice. I bet that's pretty goddamn compelling, huh? Right? Oh, sorry. Lozano and Friends. Available on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network, Apple iTunes, Stitcher Smart Radio app, and on Lozano.com.